All right, let's talk about something that drives a lot of us absolutely nuts. This feeling that no matter what you do, you're stuck with thin, weak looking wrists. Today, we're going to dive deep into why they just don't seem to grow. And more importantly, I'm going to show you the only real way to create that illusion of thickness and power. So let me ask you something. Have you ever put in the work building up your biceps, your triceps, your whole upper body, only to look in the mirror and feel like your wrists just completely ruin the picture? It's this nagging feeling, right? That they're a weak link. But what if I told you that everything you've been doing to try and fix them is completely wrong? And here it is. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off right now. The hard truth, the scientific reality, is that the part of your wrist where you'd wear a watch, it's pretty much just bone, ligaments, and tendons. The bottom line is, once you're done with puberty, there's basically zero muscle in that exact spot that can grow in any meaningful way. It doesn't matter how many wrist exercises you do. So what about all those wrist curls you see people doing religiously? Well, here's the thing. They aren't totally useless, but they just don't hit the deep muscles in the forearm that give you that look of solid thickness right above the wrist. You can do them for years and still feel like you're spinning your wheels. And honestly, this is probably the exact reason you've been so stuck. But okay, that's the bad news. The good news is there is a solution. And this is where we shift from the problem to the real secret. It's not about trying to change your bones. It's about creating a powerful illusion. First, let's really get why this is such a frustrating issue. From a visual standpoint, a thin wrist creates this taper effect that can make your whole arm, even if you've got great biceps and triceps, look less substantial. You know, it just breaks that line of power that should run from your hand all the way up to your shoulder. And this right here is the aha moment. This is the whole game changer, and it's called the forearm illusion. The secret is to forget about the wrist itself and instead strategically build up the muscles just above the wrist joint. When you do that, you build a thick, muscular base that completely changes how your wrist looks. Your bones don't get bigger, but the perception of thickness, it changes dramatically. So how do we actually do it? How do we build this illusion? The key is hitting these deep, often ignored forearm muscles that are responsible for creating that look. So let's break down 3 very specific and seriously effective exercises to get you there. First up is an exercise we're borrowing from a group of people with some of the most impressive forearms on the entire planet, rock climbers. We're talking about finger hangs. This one is all about getting to those deep, powerful grip muscles. Okay, here's how it works. You're going to grab a pull-up bar, and this is the most important part. Instead of wrapping your thumb around for a secure full hand grip, you're going to hang using just your fingers. That little change is what forces those deep muscles we want to work to fire up like crazy. And I have to say this, be careful. Start slow with this one. Your safety is number one. This is a potent exercise. So here's your plan. You're going to shoot for 3 to 4 sets, and you're only holding for about 10 to 20 seconds. The goal here isn't to see how long you can hang on. It's about creating this short, intense burst of constant tension deep in those forearm muscles. All right, our second move is a classic, straight out of the golden era of bodybuilding. And there's a reason it's stuck around. It just flat out works. They're called behind the back curls. It's going to look a little funny, but the effect is absolutely incredible. The way this works is really unique. You hold a barbell behind your back with your palms facing away from you. Then you let the bar roll all the way down to your fingertips. From there, you use just your finger and forearm strength to curl it back up into your palm, and you finish by flexing your wrist at the top. The angle against gravity is what makes it so powerful. It forces those forearm flexors to work way harder than a normal curl. For this one, the prescription is 3 sets of about 12 to 15 reps. But the absolute key is control. No swinging, no using your body's momentum. If you start cheating, you're just taking the work away from the muscles we're trying to build. You have to feel that squeeze on every single rep. And finally, our third move. This is the secret weapon. It's used by athletes whose entire sport depends on forearm strength, arm wrestlers. This is the pronator rotation, and this is what adds that real width and density to your forearms. This movement could not be simpler, but do not let that fool you. You hold a light dumbbell, and I really want to emphasize light, and you just slowly rotate your forearm from a palm up position to a palm down position. The goal isn't lifting heavy weight at all. It's about isolating that pronator muscle, which is just crucial for adding width and creating that illusion of thickness after. So for these, you'll do 3 sets on each arm, and we're going for a higher rep range here, about 15 to 20. And what's the theme? It's not about the weight, It is all about that slow, deliberate, and fully controlled rotation. That mind-muscle connection is what's really going to fire up that muscle and make it grow. Okay, so now you have the exercises. That's great. But just knowing them isn't enough. How you put them into a plan is really what separates the people who see results from those who just get frustrated and quit. Let's talk about the smart way to do this. Here are the rules of the road, and they are super simple. You're going to train these moves 2, maybe 3 times a week. You can just tack them on to the end of your regular workouts or even do them on a day off. The most important thing to remember is that your goal is not to destroy your forearms. It's about getting good blood flow and just being incredibly consistent over time. And this might be the single most important piece of advice in this entire explainer. You should not be training to absolute failure. Your target effort should be around 70 to 80%. You're trying to stimulate the muscle, not annihilate it. And this visual just says it all, doesn't it? The forearms recover pretty fast, but they do not respond well to being pushed to their absolute limit every single workout. Smart, consistent training in that green zone, that 70 to 80% range, is what builds them. Pushing to 100% into the red zone just leads to inflammation, injury, and it stalls your progress. So remember the mantra, stimulate, don't annihilate. So what happens when you actually put all of this into practice? Well, it's not just about your forearms getting bigger. It's really about changing how you feel about your entire physique. It's about building real confidence. And this is the ultimate goal, right? When you start applying these principles and you start seeing that thickness build up right above the wrist, when that powerful illusion starts to take shape, that old insecurity you had about your thin wrists is just going to fade away. It will be the last thing you even think about. Look, you have the knowledge now. You have the exact plan. You know the myth, you understand the illusion, and you have the 3 tools you need to create real, visible change. That frustration you felt at the beginning, it can end right now. So the only real question left is, what's stopping you from starting today?